Remember when Six Flags said they were removing 15 rides? Well, today we may have found out what one of those rides will be. It looks as if Six Flags St. Louis could potentially be removing Superman Tower of Power, the park's Intamin Drop Tower, based on some rumors that I've heard. I would like to make it very clear that this is definitely not confirmed, by no means is a guarantee. This is just a rumor that was featured on Screamscape, and I'll put a link to that in the description. You guys can go check it out for yourself. But today I'll be looking at how realistic this rumor is, why they might choose to remove this ride, and what this could possibly mean for the future, if anything at all. For the heck of it, at the end of the video I'll actually be doing some predictions, so if you're interested in that you can skip to that using the chapter card timestamps in the description below. However, I would recommend watching the whole video because I actually have some very interesting information to share. But before we hop into the video, I greatly appreciate a like so we can beat that YouTube algorithm, and subscribe for more coaster news coming very soon. With all that being said, let's jump right into the video. Is the rumor true? The first question we will tackle today is if this rumor could actually be true. First off, I'm not actually sure who suggested this rumor, but I think there's very good reason to believe this is true. First off, the ride is older than you might think it would be. This drop tower actually was relocated from Six Flags Astroworld. It first opened there in 1997 and was removed in 2005, when the park closed. It was then relocated at Six Flags St. Louis, and it hasn't really been touched since. I've ridden the same model at Canada's Wonderland. I can say it's a pretty fun ride. Nothing too special, but enjoyable nonetheless. However, for this model, I've heard that they consistently have seats closed, so the capacity for this ride is very poor, which of course was not a good thing when COVID came around. The throughput on these rides isn't very good. I'm also guessing that these rides experience a lot of downtime, and this one in particular probably struggles a bit more because it has been relocated. Make sure to tell me in the comments below if your home park is Six Flags St. Louis and what your experience with this ride has been like. Earlier in the video I mentioned that Six Flags is removing 15 rides this year, and this seems like it could be one of those rides. I'm not sure if we'd see an announcement for each ride. I probably think we won't, so we'll just have to keep our eyes peeled for any rumors. I made a video on my predictions for what I thought those rides could be, so feel free to go check that out. I'll leave a link in the top right corner of the video so you guys can go check that out. To get to the chase, I actually predicted Six Flags St. Louis to remove their log flume, but it appears like that won't be happening, so removing the drop tower makes a lot of sense. I'd probably say there's about a 50-50 chance of this rumor actually happening. Why would they choose this ride to be removed? Like I said earlier, this ride is old, has low capacity, and could be subject to downtime. Another big one could be the cost. When Six Flags referenced removing rides in their earnings call, they said the big thing they're looking to do is to save capex. I could see this ride costing a lot of money to maintain, and when you take into account that Intamin doesn't really make those kinds of drop towers anymore, Six Flags doesn't really typically work with Intamin, this could be a problem. If this ride does get removed, I bet on the reason being cutting maintenance costs. They could possibly look to clear land, but I doubt that. Drop towers take up the least amount of space for any thrill ride, so it doesn't look like they'll be getting that much out of removing it. However, the plaza could open up some space for future expansion. If the park would be interested in putting a big coaster, they could honestly look into removing Screaming Eagle for a bigger coaster, but that's highly unlikely given that how much of a classic it is. This would lead me to believe that this would be a solely cost-cutting move. So as I mentioned earlier, I don't think the removal will mean that much if it does indeed happen. However, I could definitely see another ride being removed to either part with this removal or something totally different. I still could possibly see the log flume getting removed, but that's unlikely. Next, I want to take a look about what could be coming to the park next. I think it might be something completely different, but we could probably see a major coaster coming to this park in the near future. This park really needs a standout coaster. I could see a flat ride coming prior to the coaster. We could probably see a Zamperla Giant Discovery or another big flat ride prior to this edition. I think in 2023 we'll see a big coaster or the years after that. The first prediction I have is probably the lamest, which would be a 4D free spin. Unfortunately, I think there's a good chance that this ends up being their next big coaster. Six Flags has not been too kind to this park over the years, so I give this a pretty solid shot of happening. The next one would be an RMC or GCI Hybrid Track Boss. I've heard rumors of a GCI Hybrid Track Boss coming soon, so I'm not sure if this would actually qualify as a big addition for Six Flags. I hope that wouldn't count as a big addition, but then again, Six Flags doesn't really like this park too much, so who really knows. I do think something will happen to the Boss in the future, but only time will tell. The next option is a little more interesting. I could see the park possibly getting an RMC Raptor. I think this would either be a Wonder Woman clone or Jersey Devil clone, but I'm leaning more towards a Wonder Woman clone. I think this would still be a great addition for the park. This would definitely be the standout ride at the park and top off a solid supporting lineup of coasters. They could really put a coaster like this anywhere in the park because it's so compact. I think the Raptor has the highest chance of coming to the park out of any model because it's so cheap and a low risk, high reward product. The last options that I could see being any sort of possibility would be something like a new Vekoma or an SNS launch coaster. I don't really see any sort of launch coaster coming to the park because they already have a massive high thrill launch coaster with Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast, so it wouldn't make too much sense to blow away a lot of money on another one, but it's Six Flags and they'll do stuff like this occasionally, so who knows. A new Vekoma may be a little more likely because it would be a solid test for the chain to see if buying new Vekomas would be worth the money. I think it could still fit very well as there is nothing really like it anywhere near the park. I'd really like to see this coaster come to the park, but Six Flags seem to stick to a few coaster manufacturers for their coasters, and this is probably a long shot at best. I'd really also like to see some kind of traditional hypercoaster as well at this park, but like I said, it's probably not in the cards. I'd bank on the park going for an intense coaster that features some solid airtime and good pacing. So as of now, I give the RMC Raptor a 40% shot to be the park's next coaster, with the free spin following up at about a 30% shot, anything else that Six Flags might throw their way taking up the rest. I think an RMC or GCI Boss would be a topic for a different video, but I also think that is a good possibility as well, with some rumors that I've heard. I think Six Flags St. Louis is due for a coaster and their time will eventually come after Six Flags returns to consistent additions to their parks. They've slowly built up this park with some decent flats, setting up the park for their next big addition. There's definitely a decent market for this park, so I think the future is relatively bright. Overall, Six Flags St. Louis likely has themselves an eventful future ahead of them. I think the removal of their drop tower could sadden some fans if that comes to fruition, but I think it could benefit the park and put some saved money from that ride towards a future investment like a coaster. As for future additions for this park, I remain cautiously optimistic about the future. Their last coaster addition was a relocated Boomerang in 2013, so it's been a while. They're definitely doing something in the future, well hopefully, from the signs I've seen. Six Flags has really put some effort into this park over the last few years, especially with that sweet new sign at the front entrance. Seriously guys, it looks so cool. But I do think there's a lot of room for improvement and growth for this park, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for this park. That's all I have for you guys today. Make sure to smash that like button, and hit that subscribe button for more amusement park and roller coaster news coming soon. Well, with all that being said, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.